Guitar pedal order. I get asked about this on occasion, and today I'm going to talk about what I put where in my effects chain and why. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen. It's good to have you along on the channel. On this channel, I try to help people with gear-related things, maybe save them a few bucks, and I do lessons and I try to inspire people through music. So today we're talking about pedal order. Partly so you don't have to buy a million pedals and try to stick them in different orders. Just, yeah, give you a few pointers. But at the same time, I'm going to say that none of these are hard and fast rules. Whatever sounds good is good. So if it sounds good to you, yeah, just stick with it. I'm going to be using a slightly different rig today to what I would normally use, because I'm going to be using the PV6505 mini head over there. Normally I use a Marshall Plexi. I have a humbucking guitar with single coils as well, so you can get a bit of both going. I'm going to be using really basic pedals. The pedals I'll be using are the LPB1 Booster, the Boss SD1 Super Overdrive, the Boss DS1 Distortion, TC Electronic Flashback Delay, and the Boss Noise Suppressor. I'm going to be using the clean and the distorted channel on the amp so that you can see how things work with different setups. I'm going to talk about what I put in the loop, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, so here is my clean signal. That amp isn't entirely clean, which I was a bit bummed out by, but still, it's cleaner than the Plexi. Yeah. That's the clean signal without anything. Now, in front of me I have a few pedals. By the way, I forgot to mention I will also be trying out a Boss fuzz pedal, and I might stick a chorus in here for good measure as well, but we'll see. So you can see the pedals on the screen. I would start with going from right to left, the boost, an overdrive, a distortion if I'm using one, and the noise suppressor. That goes into the amp, and then in the loop I would have delays and reverbs and such. I have just one delay here just to illustrate the point, but we'll go through all of this. Also, there are a couple pedals missing here. Actually, two of the most important ones that you would have. One is a tuner, which you would stick first. The second one, which I always have, is a volume pedal. I would stick that in the loop so that I could accentuate solos, boost solos really, because you do not want to have to rely on the front of house guy, the mixing engineer, to boost your solos, because that person probably won't know when your solos are. And even if you have someone who works for the band, it's still better to have kind of control over that stuff. But that I would stick in the loop, the volume pedal and the tuner would come first. So, but here, just to keep things really simple, I have the boost. But actually, I wouldn't use it like this. Turn it off now. I'd have a boost for a very specific reason, and that has to do with the following pedal. That's the the SD1 Super Overdrive. The reason I would have a boost is because I want to be certain that I can get enough gain. And with some pedals, the SD1 being such a pedal, a Tube Screamer being such a pedal, there's not always enough gain, especially if you're playing on a totally clean amp. This would probably do with the plexi, just about, but not with the way I have the PV running now. So I would engage boost and the noise gate, so that I get kind of a push over the edge. And then there is the distortion, which sounds like this. So it's a very different beast from the overdrive. That's the overdrive, and the distortion. Now, the DS1 is an iconic pedal. It's been used by everyone and their dog at some point, basically. And for instance, Steve Vai said it's been kind of a workhorse pedal for him. And he would use it basically like this into a totally clean amp. Now, another pedal that I was actually missing from this is a wah, and that I would also put before anything else. But what happens if I use the DS1 and the SD1 together? Well, first off, I'd have to reduce gain on at least one of them. So I'll reduce gain on the SD1, drop drive all the way, because the DS1 it's a bit dark. And if you add, I mean, I'm on the bright channel of the bright setting on the PV. I could tweak the EQ, but maybe you have an even darker amp. Now, adding tone on the DS1 is not nice. When you go above halfway, it just becomes horrible. Now, you can do something about that with the SD1. Instantly better. Something else you might use would be an equalizer like the Boss GE7, so that you could get a different kind of, so it's not as dark. Okay, let me switch one of the pedals. Okay, so I did a bit more than that actually. I added the Boss FZ5, the fuzz pedal, and I swapped the DS1 and SD1 the places. What's it called? Anyway, yeah. So if I do the same now, I use the SD1 and the DS1 together, you get a slightly different kind of sound. Experimentation. You try whatever works for you. Let me add drive back to the Super Overdrive. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fuzz together with the SD1. Now the fuzz sounds like this. So I'm using the Octave fuzz setting. Sounds like excrement. Okay, so the SD1 together with the fuzz. Sounds a bit different. Okay, and then I have delay, and I have that in the loop of the amp. So 4 cables. One goes from the guitar into the pedals, and then from the last pedal into the amp. And then on the back of the amp there's an effects loop, and I send the signal into the delay and back from the delay into the return of the amp. And that sounds like this. Together with the DS1. If you have a totally clean amp, like the way I'm running this now is basically clean, you can stick your delay and your reverb and everything else in front of the amp. But if there's a bit of breakup going on, I don't like sticking delays there. I always put them in the loop, because together with the breakup, it becomes, to me, it's not nice. But the thing is, that's one of the things with all of this. Everything depends on what pedals you have, and you need to experiment a bit. Like for instance, the fuzz and the SD1 didn't really work together that well with this amp with these settings. But when I tried the fuzz together with another overdrive pedal, the Strymon Riverside, together with my Marshall, it sounded absolutely insane and brilliant. So it all depends on your rig. Now, but the principles are pretty much the same. Tuner, wah for me, overdrive, distortion, and I would not have it the way I have it now. So I would have the SD1 before the DS1. Noise gate comes after all your noisy pedals, and yeah, delays in the loop. Chorus and such, I'm not really bothered. I stick it basically anywhere. I don't use a lot of chorus, but you can put that in the loop or you can put that in front of the amp. I just put it in front of the amp. Some people swear that it's much better in the loop. Some people put a wah after a distortion or an overdrive. Let's switch to the overdrive channel on the amp. Now this is where it becomes interesting. There's already a bit of hiss going on from the amp. Now I don't have a lot of gain going. I actually have gain open to just 1. Let's add delay because I like delay. Now that's a fairly high gain amp. So let's see what happens when we add the fuzz, because I haven't tried it with this. Experimenting is fun. That's much closer to what I was getting from the Plexi with the Riverside. Now, you could use the DS1 or the SD1 together with the amp, and there's a very good reason for why you would do that. I'm going to demonstrate with the SD1. Personally, I wouldn't use a distortion for this. I would use something like the SD1 or a tube screamer. Tube screamers are famously used on high gain amps. So this was the sound without the pedal. Adding the pedal, gives it another dimension. With the pedal, very nice, tightens it all up and gives it way more character. Now you can try different pedals for this, of course. Different pedals work differently. We can try the DS1, let's see. So I've backed off the drive all the way on the SD1 and added a bunch of tone. We can do the same with the DS1 except with the tone, because the tone is terrible. So this is distortion all the way down, level all the way up. If we add the tone, let's see what it does. I personally much prefer the SD1 for this type of stuff. So really, you can really experiment, but a few things that I would never do. I would never stick a distortion in the effects loop or an overdrive in the effects loop. I would not stick a delay before the distortion, because I don't like the sound of that. If your amp is distorting, stick it in the loop. If you have something like a Fender, which is pristine clean, you can stick delays and reverbs before that. That's fine. I put a wah before other effects. Some people like to put a wah after distortions. Matter of taste, try that out. And basically anything goes, as long as you don't burn down your house and don't make your amp explode or something like that. It should all be good. Rules of thumb: wah, tuner, wah, overdrive, distortion, but I like the fuzz before the overdrive, and delay in the loop and a volume pedal in the loops to accentuate your solos, and that's basically it. If you want to watch more of my gear videos, there's a playlist here somewhere, and there's a playlist with some of my music, so check that out. Click like if you liked the video, comment, let me know what you thought. If I missed anything, if you disagree with me, that's all fine. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing, and join me on Patreon. You get all of my music, you get access to my guitar course, you get a bunch of exclusives. There's a link in the description, and you can, even if you don't like what's on offer, you don't have to pay. So check that out, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!